The goal of Samruk-Kazyna is to be superior in its global performance. We heard it from Mr. Shukev what the goals are. We heard from McKinsey that there are opportunities in the world if the company performs well and changes. What I would like to talk about, what are the barriers to this transformation to make these changes? One of them, Dick Evans already talked, and this is really makes a very strong point, which is this paternalism, appointing people to positions by bloodline and not by their performance. I think that's not a problem just of Kazakhstan. My experience has been that it is a big problem worldwide. Greece has it, Turkey has it, Israel has it, Mexico has it up to here. And even the United States has it in family businesses. So this is not an unusual performance. But it can be overcome. The way you overcome it, it would be very difficult to prohibit it. You don't fight a culture that easily. It is to use other components of the culture as an antidote. For instance, just for instance, not the solution, it's for instance. In this part of the world, losing face is a serious thing. People do not like to lose face. So if you make it clear who got hired because of his bodily lines, and if that person does not perform, whoever brought him into the company loses face, it's a major problem. So what you have to make it is to make it transparent. What you have to make it to show that the performance of the people is transparent. Then losing face becomes an issue, and that's how you fight it. But that is not, in my judgment, the major problem, barrier for the transformation. In order to be competitive and achieve goals and take opportunity of the changes in the marketplace that McKinsey spoke about, Samruk-Kazyna has to become superiorly competitive in the marketplace. For that, it needs a market-oriented culture, creative, innovative leadership. What's the barrier? We have worked in many companies in Russia, among them Sberbank. I've been involved personally in the transformation of Sberbank. And I can tell you there are certain problems in CIS countries. We work also in Belarus and Ukraine and other countries. And there's a common denominator, the barrier to transformation in these countries. And it's called the Soviet legacy. And let me focus on two variables that are major barriers for transformation in these countries. First one, Soviet Union was not market-oriented. It was central planning. Thus, the focus was on the production side, not on the market side. So when you look at companies in CIS countries, at least the companies we work with, and quite a few of them, the power structure in the company is in the production side. The marketing side is power-wise weak. So the sales department sells what the production people produce, rather than that the production will be done what the marketing department says the market needs. That does not work, ladies and gentlemen. How do you change that? Unfortunately, you don't change it by training. Why? You train people, and you have done a lot of work. With Balashek program is a fantastic program, taking people, exposing them to what's best in the world, bringing them to this country to make a change. Why it is difficult? because of the second component of the Soviet legacy. And it is how companies are being run. The syndrome is called tishina, silence. When the president of the company or the managing director, whoever is the lead of the company, comes to a meeting, nobody dares to talk. Silence. Nobody dares to challenge. Silence. Only one brain works. The rest is in hibernation. So you bring these young, capable, well-educated, willing, motivated young people to work in such an environment. It's like planting highly enriched seeds and planting them in a frozen tundra. They must be frustrated like hell. And I would not be surprised if many of them leave Kazakhstan because they don't have an opportunity to use their brain. Last year, I was on a panel with Medvedev, Mr. Medvedev, in Sochi, and I told a joke. Most people don't remember my lectures, but then forget my jokes. And I will share it with you. Say, Mr. Medvedev, I see in the newspapers you push that Russia needs entrepreneurial spirit, innovative spirit, and we need to train people to be entrepreneurs. Russia has a lot of entrepreneurs. The problem is not the people. The problem is the system. And the joke is, a person lost his brain, went to buy brain. And they tell him, this brain, heart surgeon, 200,000 euros. This brain, Nobel Prize in Physics, €500,000. This brain, a Russian manager, €1,000,000. Why so much? Because this brain is totally new, never used. Kazakhstan might have highly trained, intelligent people. That's not the problem. Are we using their brain? Are we giving a climate? We're creating an environment in which their brain can be used. So training is not what the issue is. We have to change the culture. So we have to train new leaders that are laissez-faire, open, willing, changing. There is a third problem of civic legacy why you cannot do that, why it will not work. Again, my experience working a lot in CIS countries. Because the culture will reject them. They will say, this manager is weak. Yeah, give me a strong guy, you know, a strong guy. Give me a Putin. I don't want Medvedev. So there is a trap. The leader cannot change because the culture will not accept them. And the culture cannot change because the leader doesn't give an example. We are stuck. How should the change be done? Let's bring foreign leaders to lead and show an example. How many can you bring? How many of them are really good? How many of them are really capable of mentoring? And it's going to take a long time. We should live long enough for this system to work. I would suggest that we change, instead of Kazakhstan 2050, make it 3050. That's how long it's going to take. So what to do? Well, thanks God, I spent 50 years of my life trying to develop a solution to this problem, starting with 1964 Yugoslavia. The way you change it, that you use the people inside the company to make a change. And by the way, we already have a pilot in Kazakhstan with Kazakh Telecom to show that it works. Take those young people that you trained outside of Kazakhstan. Don't put them under the Soviet-type leadership. That doesn't work. They will threaten, they will be blocked. Put them parallel. Use them as internal agents of change. Let's train them and give them the tools. How do you lead change? And then, if they produce results by solving problems, they make these managers that they work parallel to shine. Now they're an asset, they're not a liability. And then, when the old generation dies, and these new guys take over, they know how to lead change. They've been trained to lead change, and then the change will continue, because change is not one time. Change has to be continuous and be part and parcel of the legacy of Mr. Nazarbayev, to continue to change and to be better forever.